Welcome to That's What He Said podcast. I'm Stuart Yerrick.
I'm Jake. Grew up with these two boys.
My name's Aaron. I appreciate you guys saving the best for last. And
Welcome back to your favorite non-sexual three-way coming at you, warp speed.
it's a lot of fun to be a sports fan.
What's going on, fellas?
You said more words on this podcast than you have to me in the past 8 years.
Very different aspects of the workforce. That was a pretty big wake-up call for me.
South Carolina Gamecock alum. Thank you for having me on the pod. It's an honor, and I'm excited. Happy birthday, Jake. Big 28.
Well, dude, I feel like I haven't even seen 90% of those pictures, dude.
What a great day to be a CU buff.
I'll be honest with you, Stu, it doesn't really feel real.
The oldest Heisman Trophy winner was 28 years
Who
old
was it?
for Florida State. New year, new me.
It's been a lot longer than that since New Year's Eve.
Them wild-eyed boys that had been away haven't changed, had much to say. But man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. Told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of That's What He Said.
Whoop, whoop. Pod Sunday, favorite non-sexual three-way is here, and we are not queer. It just came to me. Sorry.
Aaron
Jesus,
loved that
man.
one.
Took us a whole 7 seconds into the podcast for us to find something to bleep out from Jake. So I think we set a new record today here, boys.
Another fucking Sunday, boys. I'm excited.
Another great Sunday, another special guest. I think you guys will enjoy this one. Who do you think it is?
I'm going to go with Get. Still, he's got to be on here at some point. Don't act like I took your guess.
You
I've been
did take
testing
my
him
guess.
for 6 weeks.
Yeah, but you just said it wasn't him. God.
I know, but I'm gonna still I'm gonna stick with my gut and go the old radio.
The whole
Yeah.
radio. Throwing back the nickname.
See, I knew it was going to be him this week, and Jake just had to swipe in there, kind of like Matt switching teams in the TGL, waiting for a team
Correct.
to get good.
Correct.
Shoot, man, I don't know. Do we have any more friends?
Not really.
I mean, since Jake took my guess, I mean, I guess I'll take his guess and say it's Howie, but I know it's not him. So.
Well, I love it, but we'll find out here in a short second. This is someone we've been friends with for a while. I wish he still lives here in Colorado. He makes for good times when he's back. I think he's grown on you guys a little bit since
Got
we've
him.
been out of high school. Well, we're gonna see who it is, but you're welcome, boys. Our boy Anthony.
Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money, 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 money. Spread it like. Spread it like. Visualize it. Spread it like. Sleepless nights set the shackle.
Welcome, Anthony, to the pod. What a great intro song. When you told me that you wanted that as your intro song, I was happy to edit that and put that in here. Welcome to the pod, my friend.
What is up, boys? The boys are back.
And here
Whoa.
I thought this was gonna be a sober pod for me, but now that is out the window.
Or we need a little height on this thing, huh?
Just a smidge or a width if we're talking ear to ear.
I didn't take long. All right.
I'll drink to that.
We missed you,
Starting
man.
off hot.
So good to see you.
Yeah, my headphones already died, so we're gonna go away with those. Hopefully everything works here. Miss you guys.
Oh,
Miss you too, man. When's the day you're gonna finally move back to Colorado? We're
You
just sitting
know.
here waiting for
You know, I was kind of thinking about it. The second that I get a job that pays a roughly $250K an hour, I should be good.
That's still not enough back here. You're lowballing.
Well,
you.
shit.
Yeah. saw you out on the ranch today.
Yeah, we're playing around out there, just riding around, enjoying that nice, warm, 55-degree weather. Feels like summer.
Sure does, pal.
Especially out there right now.
Anything over 15 degrees feels like summer. It's
Oh.
incredible.
give it another 2 days. We'll get some snow.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to get a little snow later this week. I try not to pay attention because every time they say it's going to snow, it doesn't. And then when they say it's not supposed to snow, it does. I just kind of wake up, look out the window, say, okay, and then go on with the day.
Is that not the greatest job, like on the face of the planet, to be a weatherman or weatherwoman? Like,
You're wrong
no-
99% of the time.
yeah, and there's you're not gonna get fired for being wrong. Like it's almost encouraged at this point.
You just
Yeah.
trust what the computers tell you, and that's it. And
Yeah.
the computers are wrong. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Computers wrong.
Yep.
It's true. I'd do it. I'd point to a wall and say it's going to be hot here. I'd do it.
I know you've been up to a lot, back in Omaha right now, and a lot going on in your life. But how's the new changes in life been for you?
Good, man. We're taking them in stride. It's been a eventful 2025, even the end of 2024. Got a couple gigs going on, some new jobs out here. I'm looking at some new pathways, getting more involved in the CrossFit space and finding new passions in terms of the cowboy Western lifestyle. It's been awesome, man. Just meeting the right people and getting the right opportunities to work on some events that we grew up going to, National Western Stock Show down there in Denver. I was working that a couple weeks ago, and in Iowa out in Cedar Rapids, helping some of the guys out there. So it's been really cool to just try new things and find passion for it. It's really awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah, I know one thing that you kind of taken on here is becoming a coach for CrossFit. How is coaching CrossFit kind of going for you? I know you had some things to bring up about CrossFit. Like, give us a little insight on CrossFit. As us three are not doing CrossFit, but proud of you for doing it.
Yeah, man. No, it's been awesome. I actually became a L1 coach back in 2022. And then when we moved back to Omaha around that fall, I became a coach out here when we moved, and then kind of got away from it for a little bit. Just kind of focused on going back to be an athlete myself. And with my old job, it was just too time consuming to take on that role as well. So recently I've kind of gotten away from my old full-time job, and now I'm leaning more on this CrossFit space. And yeah, so I'm a L1 CrossFit coach at a CrossFit Omaha here now, and serve all the morning classes. So my alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning, and I'm coaching all the way up until about 10 o'clock in the morning. So putting a full day of work in. We got 3 CrossFit classes every morning, 5, 6, and 9 a.m. And then we've got some of our Fit 45 classes, which are just essentially like not as intense as a full CrossFit class. They do away with the barbell stuff, more body weight focused. See a lot more of our kind of older members or people that are still in the space. I think Jake and Aaron would probably maybe excel at this. Just because it's a lot easier, and I've seen them in the weight room back in 2013, and I don't think much has changed since then.
Oh, God
Probably the
knows shit hasn't changed since 2013.
To be fair, that's probably the last time I was in a weight room. So
I have a question about that though. Like, legit, do you find it's pretty hard to motivate people that early in the morning? Obviously, they're showing up on their own time, paying their money, so it's not like you're forcing them. But most people show up ready to rock and roll, or you gotta get them going a little bit in the morning, get them pumped.
Yeah, every day's different, man. I mean, there's always the extra shit you have going on outside the gym, right? I mean, those last couple of weeks when we had the ice storm and the snowstorm, I mean, I was joking about it, but we literally never knew when the snow day was going to happen. Parents were getting calls that school was canceled the day before and not a flake would drop. Well, they already had daycare canceled. So, I mean, people are dealing with last minute shit like that. And when they come in, they just want to work out. And you kind of, over time, you get to know when people want you in their face, like cheering them on. You kind of know when people need a little bit of extra coaching. So
Yeah.
it just comes with kind of feeling people out, and you have those relationships that you build with each individual member. But for the most part, the crew that comes in the morning, they're there, they're ready to go. You find that right song everybody loves, you let them pick the music. Maybe it's a movement they like that day. It's just kind of hit or miss. You know, it's just like going back to when you played sports, right? Like some days after school or before school, you didn't want to be there, right? Or you did, and you were excited for a game coming up or something like that. You know, the vibe's kind of different right now. There's a lot of excitement flowing throughout the gym. The CrossFit Open just started, so the 2025 CrossFit Open just started, and they released the first workout of the year last Thursday, so it's already coming up on week 2 here this coming week, and that's an exciting time of year. People really get pumped for that, just to kind of see where they match up globally, not just within the gym. So it's a really exciting time of year, and that fires people up, which is nice.
I was gonna say everybody has their own shit going on in their life. You show up, and I think the gym for a lot of people, or a CrossFit gym or something like that, especially like when I go work out and hit the gym, it's your area to like put all the bullshit away and just tune it out for an hour and a half, plug in your tunes and rock and roll. So that's cool, man. Good for you, and I'm glad you're finally contributing to society, 28 years old, and helping other people.
How big
Yeah,
of classes we talking about here, Anthony?
How many classes do I coach?
Oh, how big are the classes? We
How
talking
big
like
are the classes? We cap at 25. It differs every day. Like I said, everybody, you know, maybe you're sore, don't want to show up. My average classes will be about 12 to 17, give or take. Just kind of depends. But yeah, we cap just because, you know, in any situation, you never want to feel like you're not getting the attention that you deserve. So when you keep numbers down like that, it helps make sure you don't get lost in the shuffle. So that's kind of the basic standard you'll see at a lot of CrossFit gyms, just trying to keep classes somewhat lower attendance wise and cap wise. But, you know, we'll still, if somebody's interested in coming and we're near that capacity, we'll always encourage a drop in or bring a family or friend or whatever it is, because, you know, we're also trying to get more people in the doors too. So we'll never say no to anybody, especially when we're getting full, but we typically, numbers wise, it differs.
Are you no longer working with the baseball squad out there?
No, man, I am not doing that anymore. I am much more free now. So I worked in minor league baseball. I worked for the Kansas City Royals AAA affiliate, Omaha Storm Chasers out here, and I was their manager of events. And that was just a very taxing, busy schedule over the summer. Like there was no time off. You were always there. And whenever there weren't baseball games, your goal was to put an event in there and make sure there were no off days. And over time, that just kind of burned me out. And I got an opportunity to take on more responsibility at the CrossFit gym, and with Stacy Tovar and that team over there, they've really been accepting and flexible and working with me as I work there. I oversee a new development project for a brand new youth sports organization, a multi-sports complex that's being built out here in Valley, Nebraska. So helping oversee that, managing that, and then, yeah, just doing some of that.
I know you kind of skimmed over it. 2 questions for you. You said you're a level 1. How many levels of coaching is there? And then second question, CrossFit Open. I don't know much about it. What is a CrossFit Open?
Yes, so there's 4 levels. There's an L1, L2, L3, and L4. And basically, there's just more requirements as you kind of go up the totem pole there. All of those, the first 2 credentials are multi-day classes, in person, hands-on, learning the foundations, the fundamentals, here, how you lead a class, spotting the flaws, that type of stuff. Some slight, very broad, maybe nutritional stuff. But then as you go, 3 and 4, there's continuing credits and just a whole heap of other stuff that I've actually kind of got disconnected with a little bit, but just more requirements. And like with anything else, that there's higher levels too. And then, yeah, so the CrossFit Open, basically what that is it is the first stage in qualifying for the CrossFit Games. So every single year, the CrossFit Games is essentially like the Super Bowl for CrossFit, right? Everybody's trying to qualify there. The CrossFit Open is essentially a global competition. It's open to anybody that wants to participate, and it acts as the first stage in like a funnel. So basically, you can sign up. You'll sign up for a division, an age group, what level you are. So whether you're foundations, which is the very basic level, you'll sign up for a scaled, which is like maybe you're not doing all the RX hardest movements. Maybe you don't have bar muscle ups. Maybe you only have pull ups. So that's kind of where that scale division comes in. And then the RX division, which is where the best athletes, the elite athletes, will compete in. So it's essentially just the first qualifying stage for the CrossFit Games. It's in year 15 now. It started in 2011 at the ranch in Aromas out there in California. And it's basically 3 workouts that are released over a 3-week period. So Thursdays at noon, they will release what the workout is. So nobody knows what it's going to be each week. Everybody finds out at the same time. They'll release it, and you basically have until the next Monday to complete the workout as many times as you want. Submit your score as long as it's due by 5 o'clock on Monday. You can basically do whatever you want to in that time. So for the first workout that was released last Thursday, I did it twice, 2 times in a row in 2 days. And I got a better score the second time just because the first time I did it by myself about 10 seconds after it was announced on YouTube. And then the next day I did it in a class setting and got 19 reps better. So, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can approach it, and everybody's always looking for the fastest method. You know, how can I, do my burpees faster? Do these lunges matter if I do them this way? And how quick can my transitions be on my hang cleans and stuff like that? So it's really cool to see all the unique kind of approaches that everybody comes up with, but it's just a blast, man. It's fun. CrossFit kind of hit a little bit of I would say like a lull the last year. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but last year at the CrossFit Games, a very elite athlete actually drowned in the first event down in Texas during a swim event. So people have been very distrusting in CrossFit, even leading up to this. I mean, the last 4 or 5 years, CrossFit, the community's been very rocky with it. I'm just trying to get answers on everything. There's been a lot of change at the top and ownership and, who's in control of this and why aren't they sharing certain facts. And I think that event last year, tragic as it was just kind of the icing on the cake, the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. And the Open has seen a little bit of a decline in registration this year. And for that exact reason, I mean, I personally will admit I battled with, do I want to support this organization after something like that happened? And I'm still not giving us answers. And there's certain ways to go about it. I mean, you can look at it as 1, am I supporting CrossFit? Or 2, am I supporting myself and my community? And why am I here? After just more reflection, I kind of opted to take that piece and, see where it is for me. So, yeah, it's an interesting spot right now. People still essentially have till Monday to sign up and compete, but season's underway. People are still signing up. People are still, seeing where their fitness is at. And it's really, really cool to see.
Honestly, I don't know much about CrossFit, but it's always good to hear about those new sports that some of our best friends are into and do on a daily basis, which I think is awesome. And all I can say is that, little brother, I'm proud of you. So
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You're
and I heard you guys talking about my drift earlier, so don't talk any more shit, okay?
We've never talked shit about my little brother ever in my life.
Not once.
Not to your face, at least.
Yeah, starting now. Starting now.
Hey, no, I second what Stu said. Very proud of you, man. Glad you're killing it out in Nebraska, and good to have you on. Miss your somewhat beard grown ass. Once puberty hits, that'll look really good. But missed you a lot, and excited to talk some sports. Have you been watching sports lately? Keeping up, or what have you been watching besides the back of horses' heads and saddles?
I mean, he's tuned in no matter where he's at, right? Like, he's got the best reception anywhere. So
yeah, I mean, these things never miss a beat. These things that I got some notes that I don't think you're ready for. So we'll just leave it at that.
Combine's obviously going on right now. I don't know how you pronounce it, Stu. How you pronounce that PGA golf tournament that was going on today? Koziniak or whatever championship.
Cognizant.
Yeah. Did you see homeboy that was in first blew it with 3 shots in the
Big nap.
yeah.
Yeah.
3 shots in the water.
Fortunately.
Blew it. So yeah, we can talk some golf, or we can talk combine.
I mean, I like it all. Unfortunately, I didn't get to tune in. We had to have a super big event at my facility this week, so I haven't been able to watch too many sports. Luckily, I was able to hang out with you boys last night. Shout out to the Mammoth. Luckily, we were able to go to that game. That game was a blast. Definitely do it again. Anthony, I know you're a big, or used to be a big Mammoth fan. I don't know how you are anymore with the Mammoth, but absolute blast. It's the second time I've ever been to a game, but yeah.
Let's hit the combine. Yeah, Anthony, you been watching?
I mean, obviously, go Big Red, right? We have to talk about we have to talk about it. Come on, boys, lock in.
The man's from Colorado, and all of a sudden he is a freaking Huskers fan starting in 2015. Can't believe
And
it.
whose fault is that? Who took me to my first Husker game ever?
I
Yeah,
took
but
you to
who
a
were they
CU
playing?
game before that.
Who took me?
No, but who were they playing?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, we weren't there for the Huskers.
Anthony got his letters wrong. He's supposed to go
he
to
got
W, not N.
He got his Reds mixed up, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I get that.
All right, what do you want to talk about with your Husker boys?
Ty Robinson,
Not
D
living up to
lineman.
expectations.
6'5", 288, running a 4.83 40-yard dash.
That's cooking. That is cooking.
That's a man.
Ty Robinson.
Fastest out of any D tackle, huh?
I think just
Oh,
D
yeah.
lineman in general,
He's-
right?
Did he beat
He's a
all the
big
DNs,
boy.
too? Nah, DN James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee ran a 4.47. So,
All right. So
So second
still-
fastest.
but
That's still
fastest D
impressive.
tackle, and he's a
Yeah.
beast, man. He made CU's offensive linemen look like little boys when they played up there.
wow.
Yeah, he was
Not very hard, but
he was fun to watch, honestly, for Nebraska. He blew a lot of plays up last season.
Yeah, him and Nash Hutmaker, that combo, dude. I mean, just insane to watch.
Yeah, your
Oh.
tight end did pretty good, I think. Showed out pretty good. What's his name? Fedone?
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that because I still think he was underutilized a little bit. So I'm curious to see if he were to be used to his full potential and grow into himself even a little bit more. I mean, over the last 4 years, he's definitely bulked up and blew up in terms of that. But I'm excited to see what he does at the next level, to be honest with you.
you have to have a quarterback that threw it past the line of scrimmage for that to happen there, Anthony.
Well, I mean, yeah. Really.
Yeah, I agree with that, Anthony. I would say the one person that I want to say that about as far as tight ends go is honestly Terrence Ferguson for Oregon, Colorado boy, and
Yeah.
I felt like he was kind of. I mean, Oregon has so many weapons, obviously, and loaded at every position, but I didn't feel like he had kind of the college career that he could have at Oregon. But I think he's maybe a sleeper in the draft too. He had a pretty good combine.
Where'd he go to high school? Heritage?
Yes.
Ran a 4.63, 39-inch vertical. Jeez, good for him. 10'2" broad
Slow.
jump.
That's slow.
You try being 250 pounds and run that fast, dude. Come on now.
Catch me on Wednesday.
Are you bulking up?
Well, Anthony, you're probably in the best shape out of all three of us here. I mean,
whoa. Come
Jake's
on,
probably a close second. Fastest 40-yard dash this year, Maxwell Harrison, 4.28. You think you could top that?
Hey, man, in my prime,
no.
I'm running a 4.59. I remember that. That's all I got in me. That's all I got in me. That led to a NAI track and field scholarship, boys. Might I add that? So
Hashtag the hurdler. That just got covered. The
The
ninja.
ninja, man. Ninja.
The ninja on his chest.
Hey, how'd that beauty
Yeah.
turn out?
I'd show you, but this isn't the platform. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's
Because
good.
it's
It healed.
G-rated with me on here.
It healed well.
Okay. Beautiful.
4.28. That's a fast 40-yard
That's a movie.
dash time.
That's mo.
cornerback from Kentucky. Crazy. And then
Shoot, man,
you
he only
have
weighs 183 pounds. He should be able to move that fast.
yeah, but think about how much muscle those guys have on them. Like they're skin and bone. Come on, like yeah, they're strong, somewhat, but like come on, those kids are like skin and bone at that weight.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about, before we started, but I feel like the speed at this combine is amazing. I mean, it's the fastest running back class, fastest wide receiver class, tallest offensive lineman class they've ever had at the combine. And watching some of these offensive linemen right now, they are big boys. So I feel like the college product right now is at its prime.
Yo, what was the stat, Aaron, about the 40-yard dash that you were talking about?
What did I say?
23.
23 guys that have run under a 4.4 at the combine this year, and some of the best athletes aren't even at the combine this year. So,
Yep.
It's crazy.
crazy, man.
Anthony, where do you think Aaron's boy lands in the draft? I know we're not quite going to do a mock draft yet, even though pitch that to Stu down the road. But where do you think old Travis Hunter lands?
Top 5.
I agree with that. Right now in the mock draft, he's predicted to go 4th. I don't know if you
If he
guys seen
goes to
it.
the Patriots, dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like,
Yeah,
come
he's
on,
predicted
man.
to go to the Patriots right now.
I know.
Fourth
Literally
pick of the
like
draft.
anybody else. Like,
Well,
You guys-
you see who's
Do you
the
guys
number one
think,
draft.
you think Tennessee keeps the pick, or you think they trade it?
Well, right now they're
no,
predicted
they're
to
gonna
get
keep
Cam
it.
Ward, so I
If
wouldn't
they
see
don't
why
fit-
they would get rid of the number 1 pick. They need a quarterback.
I was gonna say they
I don't
either
know if
pick
Cam Ward's
quarterback
the
or
answer,
trade
but
it.
The
I don't
question
know
is,
if Cam Ward's the answer.
what do you think they do with him at the next level? There's no way. Like, Aaron, what would you, ideal scenario, what would you love to see?
From Travis?
Yeah, at the next level, what do you think people are going to do with him? What do you think the program's going to
If
He's
I
a
if
quarterback.
if I were running a team, I'd have him he'd play corner, but I'd have offensive sets with him. He's not going to play wide receiver full time like he did in college, but I'd have sets with him, like a third down wide receiver that you come in, you have a certain script of plays that you run with him in there. But there's no way, I don't think at the next level he can be a full time guy like he did in high school and in college. There's just too much wear and tear at that next level. But dude was a freak at corner, man, and his ball skills are unreal. My biggest thing is he was kind of not injury prone, but he got hurt a decent amount at CU. So I worry about the next level, bigger, faster, stronger guys. Hopefully he is able to, stay healthy because he was a freak when he was actually healthy and able to play. So, but I think he's a corner at the next level, and then some offensive packages too.
You could treat him like Jabril Peppers-esque. Obviously, he's better than Jabril, but they did that with Jabril Peppers in the NFL too. I mean, just had certain offensive sets and plays for him. But yeah, I think there's no question. You got to put the kid on defense. I mean, he's a ball hawk. So I think defense is where he belongs.
I think he'll excel in a cornerback position more than he would in a receiving position. And the only reason I say that is because he's such a good route runner that's going to help him excel at the next level in the cornerback position because he knows exactly what he's looking for. He knows what a receiver does in certain situations, right? And that's half the battle for a cornerback, right? To figure out how to be able to read the receiver you're covering the majority of the game. And he'll be one of the lockdown cornerbacks, right? He's going to be assigned a receiver for that week, and I think he's going to be really good at honing in on what that receiver does and be able to excel for the defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I worry a lot more about Shadur than I do Travis at the next level, though.
Don't we
100%.
all?
Yeah.
100%. Aaron, we've talked about it all year, going to games, even when, we're watching it on the TV. But, the biggest thing I've kind of taken away from him this past season, luckily, I've been invited to go to some of those games, but holds on to the ball way too long. And, we alluded to it early on when during the season. And as you stated, I definitely agree that it's something he should have already learned. It's not something that they're going to be able, I think, or should have to coach at that next level.
Yeah, man. And his decisions in the pocket worry me too. The amount of times if you watch CU games that pressure's coming and he decides just to take off backwards and it turns a 4-yard sack into a 16-yard sack. Next level, I mean, they're not going to put up with it like people did at CU. And don't get me wrong, elite arm level talent, man. Probably not probably, he is the best quarterback I've seen play at CU in my lifetime. I mean, we've had a couple of guys go into the league, not actually play in the league, but go into the league. But the decision making in the pocket has got to be fixed quickly. If you give the guy time and let him air it out, he's an elite level talent. But the decision making is my biggest worry for him, and staying healthy with 300-pound guys on top of you all the time. We'll see, but I'm hopeful. But I think Travis will have the more successful career in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he in college got, I think, lucky a few times by escaping some college kids' arm tackles and playing against lesser corners and making a pass that was maybe forced but worked out because he threw it to Travis Hunter or something like that. Obviously, this goes without saying, but you're playing against the best of the best. That doesn't happen in the NFL. And he's not going to escape a Myles Garrett arm tackle. I mean, or Chris Jones or any of the Nick Bosa or anything like that. So, yeah, I think his biggest thing he has to work on is just throw it out of bounds. Just throw it out of bounds. It sounds so simple, and I know for those guys who are used to making, PlayStation level plays, it's not, because you can make the play the 50% of the time, 75% of the time, but Jesus, if he just throws the ball out of bounds, I don't know how many yards that would have saved CU this season, instead of, like Aaron said, running backwards and trying to escape and then taking the 16-yard sack and putting them automatically behind the sticks. So, yeah, I'm really curious. I'm with Aaron. I'm really curious to see where Shedeur goes and what he does. But, yeah, I think Travis is obviously a lock. So,
Shadeur's not Lamar Jackson. But you can even see in Lamar Jackson in the last season, right? Holding on to the ball costs him a game.
Yep.
Holding on to the ball too long. There's good and bad. Sometimes you got to know when to get rid of the ball. And I know it's easy for us to say from the outside when we're not getting rushed or whatever, we're not playing. But Lamar, I feel like, has been pretty good his career on knowing when to get rid of it. Sometimes, he holds on to the ball. But Shedeur has got to realize he's not Lamar Jackson. Like,
Lamar's also
you're
the
not a
fastest
scramble
guy
quarterback.
on the field, man.
Well, true. But Shadeur's got to realize that he's not a running quarterback, right? Like, he's not a scrambling quarterback.
Well,
and I don't know if that's pressure from.
No,
I don't know if that's pressure from dad or whoever that makes him feel like he needs to hold on and scramble the ball, or whatever it is, but there's something that has to change for him to know when to get rid of that.
I think he just trusts his arm too much, man. Like, he thinks he's going to be able to find that guy if he can, extend the play. And like every quarterback does it, right? They extend the play a couple seconds, the guy breaks loose. I mean, that's Patrick Mahomes' entire career, right? Offensive line breaks down, able to escape a little bit and find a guy downfield, and Patrick Mahomes is able to do that. Shedeur was able to do it at times in college, but as we know, that's a huge step from college football to the next level. You're playing the best guy from every team in college. So, I mean, if he's able to figure it out, I trust his arm ability as much as anybody in this draft, but that decision in the pocket, I think, is something that's got to change real quick if he's going to have a successful career too. But it also depends on which team he goes to too, right? Like, we see it with rookie quarterbacks all the time. They struggle their first couple of years because they go to the worst teams. And there's a reason that they're the worst teams too. It's not just quarterback play. So if Shedeur ends up going early, nobody wants to be the quarterback of the Giants right now. Nobody really wants to be the quarterback of the Titans right now. Those are some tough places to have to go play quarterback right now. So I'm hoping that he slides a little bit in the draft, gets picked, kind of middle first round, but I guess we'll wait and see.
As a athlete with promise coming out of Division I football, obviously it's hard to say unless you're in that spotlight, right, or in that situation. But would you rather look at a program and say, hey, I'm going to go into the NFL and I'm going to turn this around? Or would you rather join something that has something good that's already going on, hop in there, kind of maybe fly under the radar for the first couple of years, and then when your time comes, take it over?
I would like a crystal ball to see if we actually do turn. Yeah, if we do actually turn around and I can be a part of that change, which I know is messed up and none of us get. Probably a little jaded to say that, but it'd be nice to know in the foreseeable future if we do turn around, I can be part of that. Otherwise, you accept the challenge and you work with your team and your guys around you and you build the program up. But otherwise, it'd be nice to walk into the Philadelphia Eagles locker room right now and know that we have a very real chance of repeating or at least making a deep run. And you can be a part of that too.
But are you
So
contributing?
Right.
I'd rather go. We all know how Shador feels, right? I don't know if you guys saw his interview, but he basically said if the franchise isn't willing to change, don't draft me. Well, I feel like I'd be kind of the same as Shador. I want to go in. I want to make my stamp on the team. I want to work for where we go. I don't want it to just be given to me. But I guess that's how I've always been as an athlete too. Baseball, like, it's not just given to you. There's so much talent in baseball, in any sport really, that you have to fight for your spot. I don't want to be handed to it because you see guys even when I was in college, and you see guys come into a team that, shout out to Bellevue, baby, owning Midland. I'm sorry, Anthony, but coming from that organization, like, you could see from kids that we would bring in every year, and they'd be complacent. They get complacent because we're top dogs every year in the conference. And so I would rather go somewhere so I have to fight. And I feel like when you go in somewhere and it's just handed to you, you get complacent. Like, look at our world today. You get participation trophies as kids. We didn't get that when we were kids. Like, you had to win to get a trophy. Now all these kids get handed participation trophies. And they get complacent and they just expect everything to be handed to them. So I'd rather go in and have to fight for my spot.
If my kid ever gets a participation trophy,
somebody has to procreate with you first. Right. But Stu, I think I like your point. I do, and like, I know all four of us are competitive as fuck, right? And none of us are on any pro teams or anything like that, but we worked for the accomplishments we did have and get. But I think that's also easy for us to sit here and say, like, yeah, I want the grind. I want to, contribute. Like, look at the 0-16 Detroit Lions. How many good players they had that we don't even know about. We don't remember players on that team. We don't remember like the 10 years, that the Cleveland Browns, and still do, like, sink career. And they've had a lot of good players on their team that went there to try and build the program up and weren't successful. So I think like being in that position where you say, yeah, I want to go the 0-16 Detroit Lions and maybe help us get a win next year and go 1-15 or something like that, is easy for us to say. But at the same time, you could spend like your whole career with a team and nobody will remember who you are, what you did, or you may not even like get anything worthy of accomplishments, which would be tough. It'd be frustrating, honestly, because we are so competitive.
Think of how many first-round quarterbacks fizzle out, man, because they go to a situation that either isn't right for them or that they don't have a team around them to be able to do things. I mean, there's a reason those guys are getting drafted in the first round, right? Because the talent is there, at least the potential is there, but it just never works out for them. That's why the Titans are still in a mode looking for a quarterback. I mean, look at the Giants too. They drafted Daniel Jones early in the first round, and now where is he?
Yeah.
I guess for me, I don't really worry too much about the accolades, right? Like, for me, like, yeah, it's nice to win and all, but it does make the game easier when you're winning a lot, for sure. Like, stress, whatever it may be,
but NFL's a business, man, right? They got to win games to keep 100%. Their team competitive. So, 2 years down the line, if you haven't turned things around for them, they'll move on. If you're not producing 100%. At a super high level, then they'll move on from you. And then who's going to pick you up?
Yeah, like what Aaron touched on. I know you didn't mean like just purely accolades, too. Like, we're not playing for MVPs or trophies or anything like that. But at the same time, like, you want to generate wins too. Like you want to win. And I think it would just, I don't know. I'm just saying, I think it would be hard for me to say, yeah, I want to go into a program that's 0-16 and help them come up. But if you're asking me 10 years
Agreed.
down the road, if I would rather go to, a team that won 2 Super Bowls, and the team I'm on is still 0-16 and we haven't gained any ground, then I would say, yeah, I would have rather contributed to a Super Bowl winning team.
Who's the best quarterback in the league right now?
100%. Jordan Love.
Jalen Hurts.
Okay, but honestly, who's the best quarterback in the league over the last 5
Patrick
years?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. What did he do his rookie year?
That's debatable.
It's not. But
Yeah,
what did he do his
that's
rookie year?
debatable.
I don't remember his rookie year, honestly.
Because he
Was
sat
he going-
behind
Chiefs were
Alex
ass,
Smith.
weren't they?
Oh, yeah. He sat
They-
behind Alex Smith.
It
When
was-
he got
they
Alex
were a
Smith got
playoff
injured.
team, and then guess who came in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, even like Cam Newton, I don't know if you
What?
saw like his comments. What was it last week? Said he came into a locker room full of losers when he got drafted to the Panthers, and he had to teach everybody how to win. And like, I think saying a locker room full of losers was pretty harsh.
Yeah, add that to things you don't say on day.
But,
Yeah.
but if that's the environment, I mean, sometimes you got to hit them with the truth.
And change it. I mean, he still is Super Bowl-less, thanks to Denver Broncos.
Game ended his career.
He did bring some entertainment and some wins. I mean, I'm pretty sure he still holds all the Carolina records for quarterbacks, and rushing yards and passing yards and touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, he fizzled out too, and he was a Heisman Trophy winner coming out of college. And look at that program; they're still struggling with Bryce Young. So I don't know. It's a good question, Anthony. But my answer is C. I would like a crystal ball.
Yeah, well, we all know that you and a football question aren't necessarily, the most
There we go. You got it.
Reliable.
flow
There
well.
you go. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Nice way to put it. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, I hear everybody's point. I really get it. I definitely agree with you, Jake. Like, yeah, of course, everyone wants to be on that Super Bowl winning team. I get that. That's, as kids, as athletes, that's what everyone aspires to be, on the top. So yeah, I mean, I get both views. I'm still choosing my choice, which is choice B, I believe. But going into a team that you basically have to rebuild or whatever it is, like, that's still always going to be my choice. But I get everyone's point of view on both aspects. And luckily, well, I shouldn't say luckily, but I've been on both sides. I've been on a team that you had to rebuild. I've been on a team that already had success when I got there. So I see both sides, but being on both sides of that, like, there's pros and cons to both. You go into a team that's winning all the time and you expect to play, but you don't produce, and then you sit on the bench and you're like, okay, what more can I do? You got your shot, you didn't produce in your shot, and then you're riding the pine. Or you go to a team that isn't so good, you didn't have to fight for your spot, but there's pressure on you. There's pros and cons to both sides, so I see both sides. But one question about the mock draft real quick, Jake, as I'm scrolling through here. How do you feel about your boy, Emeka, getting drafted 12th pick by the boys?
Who's he projected to go to?
Boys, the Cowboys.
Don't like the team he's going to, obviously. I'll just say this. I could go on and couldn't say enough good things about Emeka Egbuka. He is like the epitome of a football player that you want on your team, and wasn't even really recognized this year because he got overshadowed by Jeremiah Smith. But he's hung around for 4 years, dude, and that kid is, I mean, he's already built like an NFL wide receiver. He's a good-looking wide receiver. But I think he is I know I'm a homer and I'm biased, but he's one of my sleepers because I think you're getting a really, really good wide receiver in Emeka Egbuka. A good leader and a kid who runs really solid routes, a great teammate, and has no problem, obviously, taking a back seat and catching one ball a game as long as it contributes versus an 8-10. But yeah, I love Emeka. I've loved him since he came out of Washington when we recruited him. He's just unfortunately taking back seats to Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, and Jeremiah Smith. So he's not super well known, but he's a great wide receiver. RIP if he goes to the Cowboys. So
Well, you just can't disown him like you disowned LeBron or what?
that is way different, and you know it.
Yeah.
Don't even start on that. That is way different, bro.
Sounds like a fair weather fan to me, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
Yep,
Kick my ass.
I agree.
Okay, thanks, 2 cents.
I'll give Ohio State some love here in a bit. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
What do you guys think about?
God.
What do you guys think about Ashton? Kid we talked about all season, had an amazing season at Boise State. Mock draft, he's predicted to go to either Denver as a 20th pick or the 22nd pick to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mel Kiper has him going to the Raiders at the 6th pick.
Well, as a 6th pick.
Anthony, how you feel about Ashton in the NFL?
You think he produces in the NFL?
He's a stud, man. It was exciting to watch him all year. I don't know. Anywhere he goes, I think he's going to be one that's going to adapt to any program easily. It just seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders. It seemed like he didn't give into the pressure a lot. Yeah, I think he's one of those that's just going to, no matter what, no matter who he's got, he's going to contribute. He's going to mix well, provide a good atmosphere in the locker room. And I don't think there's a wrong choice for him, to be honest with you. I think it's him. I don't think it's necessarily where he goes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's funny is we in college, and this thought just came to me, like we in college, especially me, Aaron, Stu, with the playoff bracket, we shit on Boise State going into the playoffs and SMU. And it's funny because that's just in college. There's a lot of good NFL players that have gotten to the league that came from tiny schools, small schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how, and I do the same 100%. If it's a small school in college going up against a big school in college, I'm like, no, pass. I'm not watching that. They're going to get rocked type thing. But
Not anymore.
if you put Ashton in the NFL, even though he went to a small school and they, basically dropped the ball in the playoff, he might be another one of those players where we look back and be like, he had a really good career, or he did some stuff and he went to a small school. So I just think it's funny how, and I'm hearing myself say it and thinking about, like, we shit on the kids when they go to like smaller schools in college, but there's been a lot of good Hall of Famers and current players that have gone to small schools in the NFL.
I wouldn't even say we were shitting on him because he's at a small school. I think it was just more the conference he was playing in.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's hard for me to tell if he's going to produce at the next level. I think he has a chance to produce at the next level. I really do. Like him being able to do what he did on a consistent basis in college. Sure. Like he shows promise to be able to produce in the NFL, but you never know what you're going to get with every player. Like you look at all the running backs Wisconsin's put in the NFL and how many of them produce. That's a different situation because we run them to the ground in Wisconsin, but like how many of them have really produced once they get to the NFL?
State?
No,
That's true.
exactly.
That's a good point.
But like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just not as a consistent basis, and they're not playing the Big Ten schedule. They're playing a Mountain West schedule, so he isn't getting beat up week in and week out like the Wisconsin running backs or any of the Big Ten running backs.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too, is you wouldn't even know how good of a player he was if he was in a different situation. I mean, if he was at a different team, might not even know this guy. So
Yeah.
Again, I think it
right
just
time,
goes
right
to
place.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% that.
It's all it takes in sports. You're in the right place at the right time, things will work out for you.
And you don't
And that kind of goes back to, exactly. Well, that kind of goes back to what you were saying too earlier, Aaron.
When is the draft again? April 11th?
April 24th
Oh, I wasn't even counting those.
to April 26th is the
26.
NFL draft.
Even
Yeah.
worse. Okay.
You've got a full, like, almost 2 months, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy how much these players are going to drop and climb in between now and then. You know, you're going to hear all the stuff. Aaron, I want to ask you about this guy because I know you're a huge fan of him. Have been all year. Think he is not at all overrated, anything like that. And no, he does not go to Ohio State before you want to chime in and shit on my guy. The Arizona wide receiver, Tetsuo McMillan.
Yeah.
How we
Yeah.
feeling? How we feeling about him in this projected draft going fifth? Do you think he's really the number one wideout in this class?
No, I don't. I think he's solid, and he was a good wide receiver in college, but I don't think he should be the number one wide receiver taken off the board. I'm still a Luther Burden fan.
What's the hype? What's the hype with him? I know he had like 1 or 2 games where he went off, but then correct me if I'm wrong, he was pretty conservative or
Average.
yeah, average the rest of the season, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's built pretty good. He's got a pretty good build, but I guess I'm wondering, you know, as a Pac-12, you know, Big 12 fan, you watched him throughout his career. What did you see from him?
I mean, he's like kind of like you said, he's like a boom or bust kind of guy. Like I think the first game of the season last year, he had like 300 yards receiving.
Yeah.
And granted, it was against New Mexico.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Lobos.
But like I'm looking at his stats right now. First game had 304. Second game had 11. Next game 138. Next game 50. 161. 78. 38 when Travis Hunter was guarding him. And then 202. 84, 70, 115, and 68. So like he up and down, up and down, up and down. I won't say Arizona was like a powerhouse by any means. I mean, CU beat them 34-7, and yeah, CU had a much better team this year, but we didn't blow anybody out for the most part, man. So when our defense is only allowing your team to score 7 points, like something's not right.
Yeah.
And their quarterback, I'm a fan of him. I can't remember his name. Little guy running around out there.
Tiny.
Yeah. You know, talk about a kid that just wants to go out there and compete.
I like him too. Noah Fafita.
Fafita, yeah. I think, however you say, or Tetiora, whatever his name is, McMillan is his last name. He's got a great build. I think he's 6'5", like 215 or so. He's got the NFL build. He's got the ball skills. That's just the consistency factor that I don't buy into. To me, if you're the number one receiver in the draft, you know, you're getting close to 100 yards a game. Yeah. And you're not having the games of having 50 yards, 30 yards, 20 yards, because there shouldn't, unless they're doubling and tripling you.
Bracket.
You know,
Yeah.
And then in that case, then your other receivers should be eating out too, right? But I don't know. He has the flashes of being the number one guy. I just don't buy the consistency of it. Then again, I think like Luther Burden, I think he is the number one guy, but he didn't really do a whole lot this year either. So
yeah, I was gonna say overall, I would probably take Luther or honestly Emeka over what I've seen over McMillan. But
well, then he got Matthew Golden out of Texas too.
Matthew Golden, yeah. Everybody, I was just picking your brain a little bit too, because I know you've seen the 2026 class. Chris Henry Jr., number one wide receiver. He's committed to Ohio State. Probably, most likely, going to flip to Oregon, which is going to be tragic. But they're comparing him to McMillan. So just wanted to see your thoughts on him. And I know you weren't a huge fan of him throughout the season, so just wanted to pick your brain a little bit on that.
Yeah, I don't think this wide receiver class is super deep, to be honest with you. The running back class, they got some names in there, man. I mean, you got Genty, you got Hampton out of North Carolina, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, both of the Ohio State running backs, Cam Scatterboot, Devin Neal from Kansas, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, RJ Harvey from UCF, who he was a stud too. I think that's
running back.
talent is
Yeah.
in this draft.
Yeah, the running back class is very deep this year.
The hard part about running backs in the NFL, man, is it's 5 years and they're moving on.
Done.
So
Yeah, unless your name's Derrick Henry.
or Saquon, or
Or
the
Saquon.
big names stick around. Christian McCaffrey, they
Yeah.
stick around, but think of how quickly every
Yeah, but
other
Christian
team just
McCaffrey's hurt all the time.
recycles.
Yeah.
I mean, true, yeah, but and part of that is because of how much they've used him in the NFL. I mean, dude was a freak in Carolina, getting 1,000 yards receiving and rushing in the same season. Like, that's unreal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, at some
The
point,
man was a freak in high school.
subpar at best.
Yeah, I'll let him know you said that.
Let him. He remembers
Preston,
me.
you
Don't
listening?
worry. He remembers me.
Aaron
Don't
wants
you
a
worry.
rematch.
Yeah, what's up? Come on, man. But the running back like shelf life in the NFL is just so short too that it's actually kind of sad to see. You see all these guys that were so great in college that just like they have 1 or 2 good years. I mean, the last like CU running back, Philip Lindsay, granted he went undrafted, but he made the Pro Bowl his rookie year. And then after that, just disappeared. Not really to be heard from again unless you listen to 104.3 The Fan because he's on there now. But like the shelf life of a running back is just so
Besides-
short nowadays.
But they're also changing the game at the pro level too, making new rules for player safety and all that. And, rules that Jake kind of brought up is the tush push. But, last little thing, we'll talk about the NFL banning the tush push. Jake, you brought it up. How are we feeling about the tush push, man?
I'll say 2 things about it. One, I understand the player safety aspect of it. I mean, you even saw it in the Super Bowl where Chris Jones came out, his neck was messed up, whatever. I mean, you're diving straight head on head, head to knee. However, that's not why it's being brought up, and everybody knows.
100%. 100%.
It's being brought up because it is probably the single most effective offensive play in NFL history to gain a first down, a yard, 2 yards, whatever. There's
And who are the 2 main teams to do it this year that succeed with it?
The Eagles
Well,
are
the
the
Eagles.
main one.
The Eagles? Yeah.
Yep. And the second
And-
one? They didn't.
Uh-huh.
They ended up
That was
losing. But
Bills?
the Bills.
Bills, yeah.
Because Josh Allen doesn't know how to read a gap, man. Good God. That pissed
What?
me off. God.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the Eagles versus Commanders where they ran it. I mean, 4 times on one drive, and it was offside. But it's the single most effective play in NFL history, and that's why it's being pushed to be banned. And it's because other teams can't do it like the Eagles. It's not as effective, whatever. So, in that case, quit whining, quit bitching. When they line up and they do it against you, just, accept your fate. But
third and short, you know what's coming.
If you
Yeah,
don't want them to do it, don't let them get to 3rd and short or 4th
Exactly.
and short.
Yeah. So don't ban it because it's unfair and it's a cheat code. So I am personally nay for banning it.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, no, I think it's ridiculous. I think it needs to be taken out to make it more equal. I think that's complete bullshit. I mean,
Every football team from middle school on has some version of a QB sneak in it. Like, it's not like it's a new play. They just revolutionize the way they run it.
Well, and they have arguably probably top 3. I would say this year probably top 2 offensive line with
I
some
think they're
boys.
number 1, man.
They could be 1, yeah. That you put Jalen Hurts, who, oh, by the way, squats 700 pounds, never stops churning his legs behind most high school offensive lines. He's still going to get it, much less an NFL caliber offensive line. I mean, it's ridiculous to take a play out of the game and the game of football because you think it's like cheating or an advantage or something like that. So until somebody comes up with a tush push on defense,
they'll find a way to stop it. It's like when Chip Kelly was at Oregon and they started the RPO movement at Oregon.
Absolutely.
That's like them saying, oh, no, this isn't fair. Like, they're putting up 70 points a game. We got to take this out of the game. Like, they found a way to stop it eventually, or at least slow it down to where not every team's running it all the time. Or like when the Miami Dolphins, I don't remember what year, when we were growing up and they ran the Wildcat offense a ton.
It was like 2011 or
I
2009.
think it was
something like that.
earlier than that, but that's like people found a way to stop it eventually, or at least slow it down to where they didn't run it a ton, but they killed the NFL with the Wildcat offense that year. And it's like saying, oh, no, we have to take that out because it's too effective. Like I said, if you don't want them to run it, don't let them get to 3rd and short or 4th and short. Yeah, that's easier said than done, but
if the tush push was invented and used and was successful by the Kansas City Chiefs, it would not be
100%. That's what I was. That's where I was going to go.
Mad.
You stole the words right out of my mouth.
Yep, 100%. It's who it is.
That's a really fucking good point.
100%. Yeah. It's the inconsistency.
But the funny thing is the Chiefs didn't lose by the tush push, right? They got smoked.
They got torched.
They got worked.
Yeah,
right.
They got torched.
So that is why it is getting banned, because they got torched by the team. It didn't come down to the tush push. I think that's another reason.
It's interesting to see that the NFL and other sports entities like this, what they choose to focus on to change the game. Yeah. There's so many other inconsistencies in terms of quote unquote late quarterback hits. Yeah. And like late hits on quarterbacks, sliding too late, all that shit. Yeah. The little things that they choose to focus on. I mean, the kickoff change is outrageous. I mean, it's just all ridiculous. And that's honestly why, as I've gotten away from watching the pro game, I can't sit here and contribute as many facts to the pro game because I, over the last 2-3 years, have completely disassociated with it. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, not to go like on a rant off of that though, but that's why people, including myself, are losing interest in the NBA right now too. Like a lot of the NBA following, I think, is at like an all-time low right now since like the last 20 years. Not to go on to NBA, but you're exactly right, Anthony. It's like when you focus on the small bullshit and like try and tweak, the stuff that people really actually like to see, rather than focusing on the broad strokes and the umbrella of what's hurting the game, then you lose followers. And that's exactly what's going on in the NBA right now. So, not to change, but yeah, that's a really good point. You're focusing on the wrong shit.
So I just Googled
what's
the Eagles average on the tush push in 2024. According to StatMuse, what do you think? How many yards do you think they averaged on the tush push?
Oh, StatMuse too. 3.6.
Tush push probably 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah, 5.6 yards is what it says. 5.6.
5.6 yards.
I wish they'd line up and run it every play. God.
Yeah, I wish they would do that on first down.
Yeah, man.
There's half your yards.
Yeah, I wish they'd line up and do it every single play and just take 12 minutes off the clock running down the field. God, that'd be
awesome.
Yeah, no, I think
it'd be a 14-0 game, but
dub's a dub, man.
That's right, 100%. I would love to see that. But yeah, I mean, some really good points there. I definitely agree with Anthony there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode with your favorite boys.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on board this mischievous ship. Get another non-sexual 3-way in the book. And can't wait to see you guys next week.
As always, like and subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. So thanks as always.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. I miss you all.
We miss you too, Anthony. Thank you for joining us today for a special episode. See you next time.